Yo, Scrawny with the Skinny, coming at you guys with a last-second fantasy land before the Blast Paris Major Playoffs kicks off. Had a pretty crazy media day yesterday, and honestly just sort of forgot about Fantasyland. So excuse me that this one's coming in so late. I hope that maybe you can catch it last second, maybe decide to make your drafts. But Legend Stage didn't go too well, all right? I've got to be honest. As I would expect, most people's expectations did not come true with this one, but mine were even worse. This whole last second swap that I made, this isn't the roster that I ended the video on last time. I actually had Madden and Shush instead, but then I felt inspired, and I felt inspired at the wrong moment because I threw in Yuri, who had his career worst rating as an opening best of one for the major. So negative 60 points on Yuri put the Eldrazi in the 86th percentile. Wasn't a very good week for boosters. I tried to recover it to maybe just get a point or two. Didn't happen. So total flop from the Eldrazi. I think that, I had this moment last week when right after the 11th ranked team finished, I thought to myself, I'll probably never have another fantasy this good. The odds are that was the peak. Maybe we can get close again. Maybe I'm wrong. But I had to accept that that was a superb draft, and I enjoyed the moment because I knew that if we flew too close to the sun, we would crash and burn. And I did exactly that with the Yuri grab. However, nobody really did too well on fantasy, and so I'm left here, still in 5th place, still comfortably within the top 10, which was always the minimum for this season. That top 3 finish is looking elusive, but there are still a few events where if I can nail another good finish, if P2 ends up dropping the ball, if Vu can get the hell out of my way, we can maybe shoot for number 3 behind Lucy and Maniac. The dream is alive, we'll put it that way. But playoffs bracket. Heroic and FaZe to start off. Now, this is something that you could argue you'd want in the semifinals or even the grand finals, much like the FaZe versus Na'Vi game. This quarterfinal is the first match of all the quarters as well. I'm about to go to the stadium myself and go watch it, so very excited, and I think everybody is. This could be the best match of the playoffs. It could be. We don't know. FaZe seems to deliver those moments when they're there. Go back to FaZe versus Spirit in Antwerp. These games always seem so amazing, and with the crowd live, wow. I'm going to predict Heroic actually get through that top side of the bracket. Monty versus Gamer Legion. I'm personally taking Gamer Legion. I believe in Shuhei's calls. I know Monty has better individual levels, but you know what? Let's just get to the draft. I don't want to talk about the rest of the bracket because I just want to take a different approach today. I remember last year when I was in first place of the fantasy league, and I was just trying to be as tactical and analytical as possible with all of my drafts. And in the end, what I ended up losing to was Flom's decision at Rio to pick 2 players from Furia and Jame. Flom taught me a valuable lesson, all right? We can do an entire season of fantasy trying to make the right decisions, trying to, pick and choose and overturn those rocks and figure out the Demkas of the challenger stage, etc. But sometimes you just have to pick with your heart. You're given a chance to cheer for a storyline or a narrative or an event that may or may not happen, but if you can will it into existence by believing, if you are a part of the group of people who truly believe something could happen, I think that's what I'm going to do with fantasy today. So right out of the gate, I'm going double Heroic. I think on the top side of the bracket, we're going to get Cadian and Jabbi playing very well. All right? Cadian and Jabbi. Cadian looked great in the Legend stage. Jabbi is a playoff player. Right now, he's not going above and beyond, but I expect that we can tap back into what he delivered in their good runs. Jabbi's pretty consistent on the big stage, and I think he plays really well under pressure. So Cadian and Jabbi, those are my first 2. I think Heroic gets into another grand finals and could very well win this event. To see Cadian lift a major trophy is a possibility that I have to try and tap into for fantasy. Boys, you've got a dream. You have to dream that we North Americans could pull off the unthinkable and steal away the last CSGO major. Team Liquid, from 0-2 in challengers to nearly getting beaten by Fluxo, have looked excellent ever since. They've run through all their opposition. They gave Heroic a run for their money, and I think they could do it again. Vitality stands in their way. On the bottom side of the bracket, I highly anticipate Zywoo and Spinks playing incredibly, but NAF has looked excellent. OC powers up. And more than anything else, you got to believe sometimes, all right? I would beat myself up if I didn't believe in Team Liquid right here, right now. I did my Pick'ems video a couple of days ago, took Vitality all the way to the end, and it just hasn't sat with me right, okay? It doesn't feel good to not be able to believe in your team. So I'm not using this as fantasy advice, this video, all right? You don't need to follow in these footsteps unless you truly want to dream. Much like the 9 out of 9 challenge, sometimes you got to swing for it. And in this case, with this stage, with what it means, and knowing that I will never get another chance to predict a North American major win in CSGO, I'm on it. NAF is going to be the guy with OC next to him, powering up. Yakinder's going to play excellently. Maybe Elige finally gets his uptick in performance too. He's somebody that can be banked on when the games really matter. And Nitro has looked better. Much like Apex, he's not lost in the server right now, all right? These are the moments where you think with your dick and not with your brain, okay? Big heart pick, NAF and OC. And for our last choice, I could go with one of the IGLs of the favorited teams, or I can pick a guy like Shuhei. Now, in the face of Monty, like I said, firepower, Monty has the edge. But Shuhei is somebody who I saw rise through the We Play Academy leagues. He is somebody who I believe in. I believe in his future within CSGO, and I believe that he has what it takes to shape a set of players that are not stars, make them into something bigger than they are, and defeat Monty on the biggest stage and the biggest chance of his career. I've seen Shuhei lift LAN trophies. Yes, it was at the We Play Academy League, but he's trained for this. Here we go. Here we go. Shamans, here we go. Leader role on Cadian, headshot machine for Jabbi, opens up the op for OC. NAF's support stats right now are actually popping off. He's activating that like almost all the time. Entry fragger to multi-fragger. This was my choice with Shuhei, and I went entry just because it's a little more consistent on the back end. But Shuhei has these incredible 3K spray down moments all the time as well. This is not gambling advice. This is not betting advice. You don't have to put your fantasy on the line. But I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror if I didn't believe in Liquid this weekend. So there we go. Fantasyland. One last time here in Paris.